This is the Boys Gen V podcast from TV Podcast Industries, and we're talking about Gen V Season 1, Episode 5. Welcome to the Monster Club.
Are you okay? I should have known better, and now I do. So, this is exactly his MO. Right. So, I get him coming after me for revenge or whatever, but why go after you guys?
Where's Andre?
Oh shit, Rufus. He's gonna kill Rufus.
Welcome back, fellow boys and girls. Yes, we are talking about episode 5 of Gen V Season 1. This is TV Podcast Industries, and you're listening to the Boys Gen V podcast. Mm-hmm. It is Welcome to the Monster Club, or dare I say it, maybe even a lot of Pleasure Dome chucked in there for equal measure. We have hand vibrators and ejaculative blowholes to discuss on this episode of the podcast. Dare I say it, it takes me back to Phoenix Nights. This is TV Podcast Industries coming in your ears.
Welcome back, fellow boys and girls, to your PG podcast for Gen V Season 1. How do we do this every week, John?
I do not know. And dare I say it, I forgot the most important thing. I am one of your hosts, John.
And I'm one of your other hosts, Derek. I've had a bit of a time lapse this week. I'm not sure if I remember everything that we've done. I know we were in the UK. I know we went to see Manchester Orchestra live last week. I know we recorded the Ahsoka finale. I know we recorded Wheel of Time finale. We recorded the first episode of Loki season 2, and now we're on to Gen V season 1, episode 5. And then back over to the UK to go and see the Ravens play live in the NFL. Oh, what a week it's been.
Come on, Lamar Jackson. Beat the Titans.
There you go. That's the rallying cry from NFL fans.
Yeah, well, they lost last week to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not impressed at all.
I know. Oh, well, it happens sometimes. But we are looking forward to a great game in London. Before that, of course, we're going to be talking about Gen V, the 5th episode of the season. There's only 8 in the season, John.
I know. We are racing through these.
We are.
Seemingly like a vibrating hand through solid matter.
I think so. Oh, God, that room just covered and it's seeping through the floorboards is just an image that I don't think I'll get out of my head from this episode.
No, exactly. It's a good job it didn't go in Andre's mouth.
Oh, yeah, they closed the door just in time.
Just hit him on the cheek. And dare I say
from the roof, that's right. But yes. I thought they closed the door in time just after they found out what was happening.
Otherwise, it would have been pearl necklaces ahoy, dare I say it.
It would have been, yeah. If this was an episode of The Boys, this could have been an entire episode. Like, they did Hero-gasm in The Boys, and that's basically a student version of Hero-gasm is going on right here. They just didn't focus on it as much because the kids, our main characters, didn't really know where they were, so they were trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, it was kind of snippets of it going on.
Yeah.
I guess it's the old adage of anything left to the imagination. So, a few little snippets, a few little doors opening to see what's going on behind them. But ultimately, it's all about what goes on behind closed doors.
Well, absolutely. Or sent to TikTok in many cases.
Well, exactly.
As they piece together
in the new era, yes, it's let's just broadcast it on social media.
Sure, why not?
Rather than what happens in college stays in college.
Yeah, I don't remember last night. I'm going to check my socials and see what happened and what was sent. Yeah, what an interesting idea.
All I can say is, like, Godolkin, I didn't have social media when I was at university.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I would remember more of my time back then.
I kept a diary.
Oh, of course you did.
I'm joking. I didn't. But anyway,
Yes.
we are digressing
A lot.
way too much here. Fellow boys and girls, a quick public service announcement on campus. Please pop on over to subscribe to the podcast over at tvpodcastindustries.com, where you can subscribe to any podcast catcher of your choice. You can also send in your thoughts, observations, rants, you name it, for our feedback section by email to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, or you can pop on over to our Facebook group, as always, to facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries. And you can leave your thoughts on the spoiler post for each and every episode.
Absolutely. I'm delighted to say we've got a bunch of feedback in from our fellow boys and girls for this episode, because we have been recording in advance for the last couple of weeks and we have been away as well. So haven't had the chance to catch up with our feedback. But we do have some in on the previous couple of episodes and on the podcast so far, which is great.
Excellent stuff.
And one other reminder, one other public service announcement, as you say, John, over the Tannoy at Godolkin University. We will be continuing our Gen V student bar quiz later in this episode. We have the 5th question of 8. All you need to do is gather together the answers to all 8 questions. Email them to us at the end of the season to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, and you could be in with the chance of getting your hands on some Gen V goodies.
Yes. God only knows what they'll be. I can't imagine what the merchandise would be for that.
Do you think they'll make a Funko Pop of that scene with the vibrating hand?
Maybe, or it could be Luke's empty drawer from one of the previous episodes. Who knows?
Yeah, it won't be that. I promise you. I promise you we won't be sending that out in the post.
Yeah, I think we should have a xylophone here that I can do a little to help with our campus announcements.
Oh,
go
very
all
good.
hidey high, hoody ho on our fellow boys and girls.
I will try and find that sound effect for you for next week's episode, John.
Excellent stuff. But Derek, let us get into our spoiler-filled discussion of The Boys Gen V Episode 5, Welcome to the Monster Club. What are some of the episode details? Who gave us what, when, where, how, and I guess why might be an important question for this episode. At least around hand vibrator and ejaculative blowholes.
God. Oh, that's going to keep coming up, isn't it?
It certainly is.
If it keeps vibrating in the right way, I
We should
suppose.
be doing a psychoanalysis show, I think. Why?
Maybe. Why is this happening? Money is what I would say. One of the biggest shows on Prime Video. So I guess you do the spin-off, a spin-off successful, it makes money, right?
Or just pure dirty humour,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
So yes, on to the episode details for this one. The show was developed by Craig Rosenberg and Evan Goldberg with Eric Kripke. The showrunners for the show are Michelle Fazekas and Tara Butters, and based on the comic book series from Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. This episode was written by Lex Edness. She was a writer and story editor on the TV shows Dirty John with Christian Slater and Connie Britton, and on Physical with Rose Byrne.
Excellent. I've never heard of Dirty John before, and I should know. My name is John.
Yeah, you should. And Christian Slater's in it, and Connie Britton, who you love.
Yeah, okay.
I think
Well,
you have to check
it's
that out.
certainly better than Dear John. Oh, what a nightmare.
Pretty awful, even
Yeah.
though it starred one of the Ronnies.
Yeah. Disaster for my name, that show was.
Oh, well, Dirty John wouldn't be much better either.
Well, I prefer that moniker, I guess.
All right. Coming to you this
we-
week, Derek and Dirty John.
Yeah. And simply because I don't wash, fellow boys and girls.
That's not true. I wouldn't put up with you in the podcast room if you didn't watch. But the director for this episode was Claire Kilner. She directed an episode of Pennyworth Season 1, John. And 5 episodes of House of the Dragon, 2 for the second season, 3 for the first season. So you see, it all ties in. You said when we were covering Pennyworth, we were only covering it because it was a spin-off from Gotham or from the same creators as Gotham.
Absolutely.
But no, Claire has gone from the streets of London to the heady heights of Godolkin University.
I do love how directors manage to put themselves out and get out there.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't
Excellent
go back
stuff.
to all the way through her career where, of course, she did episodes of The Bill and of EastEnders and stuff like that as well. It's a great start.
Good training ground.
Absolutely. Russell T. Davis, that's where he started.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for Season 1, Episode 5 of Gen V, Welcome to the Monster Club?
Sure. Andre and Kate wake up after what seems like a huge party, but they don't know how they got there. They locate Marie and Jordan, who are similarly confused as to why they woke up in bed together. After Marie finds a supersized Emma passed out in the pool and helps return her to normal size, they try to piece together the missing days. Sam finds Emma, but she has no memory of him. Knowing that Vought and Godolkin University are after him, Sam goes back into hiding. But when a SWAT team catches up with him, Sam beats the stuffing out of them. Meanwhile, the group believe it was Rufus who wiped their minds in revenge for the explosive ball-busting and more that he got from Marie and Kate. After learning about Rufus' past rape of Kate, Andre initially confronts him, but is mind-wiped again, further convincing them of his guilt. But when Emma finally catches up with Sam, she learns the truth. Kate's powers have been used by Dean Shetty to repeatedly wipe the minds of students who know about the Woods and Sam. Emma reveals the truth to Marie and Jordan just in time to stop them killing Rufus. When Andre finds out that Kate is behind it all, she restores all of his memories as he drops to the floor in disappointment.
Disappointment at Kate, is that what happened?
Really disappointed. You could see it etched across Andre's face.
Oh my god, I can't believe you did that to us, Kate. Yeah.
Oh no. Anyone but you, Kate.
He closed his eyes as well, so he didn't have to see her.
Oh, God.
Not like he passed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we did a little bit of obfuscation. I'm going to use a big word there. Last week, we actually knew what happened after episode 4 because we couldn't not go on to episode 5 after that really weird break. We thought there was something wrong with our screeners. Much like I heard most people who watched it on Prime Video thought, hang on a second, what's just happened here? Why is there this skip in time? Why does nobody know what's going on?
I know.
And then it hit credits. So we did know last week that this is what was happening, that they all wake up with this lack of memory, I suppose. But we didn't watch further into the episode and we didn't want to spoil anything for anybody that may be watching it weekly or is watching it weekly, of course, because that's how we cover our podcast, right?
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
So I hope that's all right with our fellow boys and girls. We'll never spoil you on something that you can't possibly have seen. Unlike lots of articles out there who've already watched all 6 episodes and are giving their speculation about what might happen this season on The Boys, even though they've seen the episodes. So they're spoiling things for you. Don't read those articles.
Yes, exactly. But let us get into our moments of the episode. Mm-hmm. Each week we do our freshman or small moment, our sophomore or medium moment, and our senior moment as our large or other outstanding moment from the episode.
Absolutely. Senior moment works really well this week because that tends to be people that lose their memory, right?
What?
No, that's hearing, John. That's not memory.
It is as well.
I love it. Let's get on to our freshman moment.
Yes, John. I have a bone to pick with this one.
Okay.
I definitely think this should be vibrating handyman and the blowhole lady.
Okay, that is a great moment.
It is a great moment.
Yeah.
But that literally would be all the point is.
I feel like we've mentioned that quite a lot in the podcast, and it doesn't deserve its own
How
point.
many times can we get it into the podcast? Or fire-breathing cokehead. That's the other one as well.
Oh, yes,
that
that's
we
right.
do see.
Yes, that's right. We could take a tour around the house. We do see Maverick, the invisible student with the glasses and the baseball cap, and
the llama,
and the fact that and it seems like the llama is the dom in that relationship, and he's the sub. That's what that seems like.
Yes.
So,
we have Dusty as well, the host of this extravaganza, this student extravaganza. He's about 28, I think, but still has a hairless worm for a wiener.
Yeah.
So yes, Dusty, the youthful host of this party.
The youthful dropout. There's always an older person that lives close to campuses of college and doesn't want to leave the college life behind. I think he's fulfilling that fantasy of lots of people who think, oh God, can I just look younger? But unfortunately, he's stuck at the age of 13 and now 28. Yeah. So
just needs hyaluronic acid.
We are not sponsored by that company and will never be.
I believe.
Right. But what's our real freshman moment, John?
Our real freshman moment is that Marie and Jordan give it a go.
Yeah.
After a lot of awkwardness, waking up in the bed together with no recollection of not only how they got there, but possibly what they did to one another in bed.
Yeah.
Again, stuff being shown on social media, a bit of close hip dancing there, a bit of the old snogging
Proper
going
snogging,
on the
yeah.
dance floor.
Yeah.
And as well, the awkwardness kind of spills over with Jordan saying, "We're cool."
Oh, yeah.
Which, yes, Marie kind of doesn't want to be cool with Jordan, but ultimately Marie doesn't want to be cool with Jordan, but goes along with it.
Yeah, and
to
also,
an extent.
And also, Marie doesn't really know what is meant by the term "we're cool." I love the conversation between herself and Emma as Emma kind of
really
fills it in. Look, it's easy here. Do you like them? Yes. Do you find them attractive? Yes. Do you want to put your lips against their lips? Yes. Do you want to put other body parts against other body parts? Yes. Okay, give it a go.
Exactly. And fair dues to Emma for explaining it also to myself as an audience member, because yes, I was like going, okay, we didn't have that expression. It was just like, not interested.
Oh, but you see, that's the thing. We're cool just means we're cool. It could mean anything. Yeah, you have to interpret it, right?
Exactly.
So,
interpretive language.
Yeah, but they do keep getting interrupted in their conversation throughout this episode with everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
Don't seem to be finally giving it a go, but it looks like Marie's interested and Jordan's interested. So I'd say it's pretty high up there that the two of them will be getting together.
Well, that's it. And I mean, even to the point where Jordan, in speaking to Marie, she's just been wiped by Kate again.
That's right.
So she doesn't even recollect the party in the end.
Yeah, and doesn't even recollect that Jordan said we're cool as well.
Exactly.
But she does remember that herself and Jordan have been together. Interestingly, of course, going back to episode 1, Jordan's the one that stopped her from getting in to the college course that she wanted to get into, the crime fighters. So they started off on a pretty bad foot. They seem to be on the right foot right now, though.
Yeah, the iceberg between these two is melting.
Exactly.
But I think with that, let's get into our sophomore or medium moment.
This is kind of a big moment. It's one of my favorite moments for the episode, but it is only a moment. So let's talk about Sam's puppet massacre as our sophomore moment for the episode. What a great moment in here. Like we saw last week, Sam does have this kind of problem where characters, puppets particularly, and television's Jason Ritter, are speaking to him from their version of Sesame Street, telling him to go and kill people. And we see that kind of continued this week.
Yes, this week, fellow boys and girls, we bring you the letter B. Bloodshed, body parts, brutal, you name it.
Yes.
Any other bonkers, I guess, but lovely bonkers. So, yes, this was Sesame Street had entered the action movie world.
Yeah.
Really good. Loved it.
Oh, it's so cool, wasn't it? It was such an interesting way to do this sequence. It starts out where we have the puppet version of Emma trying to talk Sam down, telling him that he needs to back off. He's seeing her very angelically. He's seeing her in this kind of flicker. Maybe it's like a TV version of her there. But then the SWAT team arrive in really cute Jim Henson-like form. And he brutally destroys them, ripping off arms and stuffing them down throats, pulling out one puppet's brain. You know, it's quite funny to laugh at as you're watching it, and you're kind of going, "Oh, this is really creative."
As well.
The glitter instead of the blood, exactly. That's very cool. Really like that. Like what a creative choice they've made here with Sam.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But following on from this massacre of all of these SWAT puppets, we do see the aftermath as Sam turns around, covered in their blood.
Yeah, and
we see all the bodies on the ground.
Yeah, it cuts to that real massacre of these SWAT guards that were after him.
Yeah.
And also the seriousness of, you know, the lengths that Godolkin will go to.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. They've sent an entire SWAT team to take out this one kid, but you can kind of see why. If the powers that he used here, taking out the puppets, were actually what is happening with Sam, he's bulletproof. He's powerful enough to rip people in half with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Like we see as he's walking out of the tunnel where they attacked, we see one of the SWAT guys, half of his body's still hanging from the rope.
Spine just peering out of the upper torso. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can understand. This is like trying to take down Homelander.
Yeah. He is very powerful as Sam.
Yeah.
And not entirely with it. like with the whole TV's Jason Risser appearing to him, as well as the puppets, or seeing the world in puppet form. I mean, maybe it is a coping mechanism. Maybe the trauma and the brutality of what has happened to him in the woods is that this is the only way he is able to sort of view some of these things.
Yeah, potentially.
Effectively, one of the previous episodes, we saw, the spinal tap from hell with a needle being, hammered into his spine. So maybe this is a coping mechanism, and it's a metaphor for how he's dealing with the trauma that he has been put through by Dean Shetty and Dr. Cordova.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But once again, the boys' TV shows being really creative about how they get away with using some of the violence and some things that they couldn't do in live action. We see Sam here holding the head of one of the puppets by its spine upside down as he goes in for the kill on another one of the puppets. So
yeah, exactly. And sort of doing the lobotomy, it was like squeezing a pimple. I thought this was awesome. It's like when Buffy did the musical episodes, and you just went, it fits. Okay, it's not the same, granted. And again, here, just a different way of doing it, but it fits, in terms of the psychic of Sam and how he is sort of viewing the world. Yeah. In the same way with Black Noir from The Boys with the cartoon characters.
Absolutely.
It's just that trauma and how they are able to deal with this world, and it gives that insight as well. So, it's both, dare I say it, it's both fun to see it like this, and it's also, a bit deeper if you want to take it that way as well. So I loved it. I thought this was a really good sequence.
It was really cool. But he has so much disregard for those puppets. It's not like he is seeing them as puppets and ripping them apart. He knows they are SWAT team.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he turns into a puppet himself during this fight. So, but yeah, some severe brutality in puppet form this time. I'd go and see the stage play like Avenue Q. And you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was basically Sesame Street on steroids,
or Avenue Q on steroids, which is the takeoff of Sesame Street for adults. Yeah.
Okay, well, Sesame Street on steroids, supercharged. With a line of Coke.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff. We go on to our major moment, John.
Big Bird will never be the same again.
No, not if it gets anywhere near Sam. We talk about our major moment, John.
Yes,
because that's the rest of the episode. The reason why we've kept it to this one point is because it's such a through line in the story. The major characters here are trying to find out what's happened to them since Kate grew big and sat on Sam to stop him from killing the doctor. So our big moment really is
our senior moment.
Our senior moment, yes, our senior moment is Kate's mind wiping.
Yeah, really good. I like the sort of red herring here of Rufus.
Yes,
because it's almost self-perpetuating. But the genesis of it is from Kate. You know. But it feeds into everything, that's happened to Marie and, Kate's story. I mean, you do wonder when Kate opens up about, what Rufus had done to her, by the end of it, you suddenly are second guessing as to whether that's actually true. I mean, it's not to say that it isn't. It's just because, she manipulates, her closest friends in a sense because of, the Machiavellian manipulation being done by Dean Shetty here. Yeah. And I hope the series gets into a bit more around what that relationship is, because we do see them here, very briefly with Shetty and Kate sat down having a cup of tea, and ultimately Kate really struggling, and crying because of the difficulty in lying to her actual friends at university. And, you have this real faux comforting of her by Dean Shetty, and, this master manipulator trying to sort of effectively pep her up again to go back out and to do what she wants her to do and what she's been doing for such a long time. So, it'd be really interesting to know what is the hold here of Dean Shetty on Kate. Because it maybe to begin with, it started out as not a big deal. If it, from what we understand, she was doing it to Luke so that he would forget Sam. Yeah. But no one is dying in that process. Mm-hmm. It's still a lie. It's still not great. But now, Luke is dead and all of this stuff, she's seeing the reality of what she's actually been hiding as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I will say, I think that Kate is being honest about what happened with Rufus. I think she is being honest. I do. Because I think that moment where she's talking to Dean Shetty, she is starting to break apart because of everything she's had to do to this group of people. So I do think she's being honest, but I know what you mean. Could she have been creating the story to throw the scent off herself onto Rufus? But what I do like about how this all breaks out across the episode is they are trying to investigate Rufus. They're convinced it's him. They're convinced it can't possibly be Kate that's doing it to them. But as she takes more and more of their memories away, you realize that they're too far gone now in this investigation. They have too much knowledge in their head that if you take away a day or two, suddenly they're missing massive moments because there's so much interconnection here between what they've done, what's happened in the woods, the connection to Vought. You hear from Andre going, I know I didn't go to the interview the other night, but I can't remember why I didn't go to the interview. There's things that are now creeping into other parts of their life that aren't as simple as just pulling out one piece of memory of the stuff that they've all learned since they started developing this.
And also having to do it individually to them rather than collectively.
Well,
the same applies with Marie, not remembering that we're cool from Jordan, but she hadn't done anything to Jordan. So Jordan's there, questioning, have you had your mind wiped again? But it becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy that it is Rufus because they know what he can do.
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought this was really, really good. I mean, I think the other side of it is, Maddie Phillips, who plays Kate, I think is really good here. I think in particular that scene of her trying to confess to Andre, she's just on the cusp of telling him the truth when they get the call because they found Rufus, Marie and Jordan. And you could see the battle that she was having, almost again going almost, in tears again, trying to be honest with the person that I think she has genuine feelings for. Yeah. So I really, really thought, she was great in this episode. I loved how that all played out. That it is the betrayal of the close friend. It's the et tu, Brutus, almost. Yeah, certainly for Andre. And you see that in that final scene. As I said, his disappointment, but it goes deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's betrayal. And
she does restore all of his memories at one time, all the things she's taken from him in the past. We see that in that quick flash through all those moments with Luke that he had. You see that flash where he's realizing how much she's taken from him over the course of this. And this is just to cover up this one mystery that Dean Shetty wants to keep secret from the students, So how much it's invading their lives, how much each of them have lost because of this. There's even that whole piece with Emma. She's been made to forget about Sam, and she was falling for him the last time they met, last episode, and now suddenly she can't remember him at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the great thing with Emma in this episode is she's a vehicle for being just the best friend here. And in terms of talking to Marie about her feelings for Jordan. Yeah. But I love that she finds the Stardust Driving t-shirt and is like, I have no memory of this. And didn't he say he was at that? And goes to him.
Yes.
And you have this, this whole moment where she goes, I don't remember you, but I believe you that you know me.
Yeah. And I really like that about Emma because it speaks to her as a character in herself, that how she would talk to Sam, how she would deal with Sam. It's not based on the fact that she would deal with him trying to make sure he didn't get angry or something like that. She's dealing with them with kindness in exactly the way he wants to be dealt with. Remember, there was a whole moment last time when he got angry and said, "You're going to leave me like everybody else." And when she comes to him with saying, I trust you and I believe in you, he realizes actually it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
And he takes that. He realizes that Emma wouldn't have left him if it hadn't been for somebody else.
And he says, I don't blame you. She made Luke forget about me too. Referring to Kate. Yeah. I think as well, it's just the trajectory of it, because right at the start, Sam arrives at the house where the party has been happening, and both Emma and Marie don't remember him at all. And both of their views are that they can't trust him. In fact, they say, that guy is effing crazy. Yeah. Like, they just think it's a weird post party. Yeah, but kind of cute.
Yeah.
Over the course of this episode, you just have that little moment in the dormitory where, she puts 2 and 2 together, and goes and acts on it, and is effectively the person who is able then to inform the rest of them that it's not Rufus, it's Kate.
Exactly.
Because we hear Rufus in that moment pleading his innocence in the sense that, he can only work it when he's close to the person. And also, I don't know anything about trackers, because you have that great scene where Marie sort of feels that blood clot on her shoulder where she's been injected with a location tracker.
Yeah.
So I thought that was I just liked that arc of Emma and how, supportive of Marie, of Sam, of also then the wider group in order to expose the truth. And you get a bit of that character as well, as she, when she's talking about her mother, where she's just like, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to be her clown anymore.
Yeah.
She's just kind of wants to be that honest, good friend with a regular life, in a sense.
Absolutely, or at least be allowed to be herself.
Exactly.
And use her powers the way she can use her powers. Really. Yeah, exactly. I must say, the little developments that we're getting on Marie's powers, right back in the first episode, we saw that terrifying way in which she got the powers, and it's effectively the blood kinesis, is that what you call it, where she's able to control the blood that comes out of her body. But we're seeing little extra developments to that. We talked about the fact that she was able to save somebody's life in the first episode by stemming the tide of blood, and here in this episode she's able to feel that there's a blood clot, so she's able to find that there is this tracker inside her. So there's loads of other uses for her powers.
Absolutely.
It's not just, as they said, the one that wouldn't play well, where she's taking blood out of her body and slapping people across the face with it.
Exactly.
She's also able to use it in different ways. And if she has some training here, if it isn't just training about branding in Godolkin University, if it's actual real training on how to use her powers, there could be some great uses of the powers that she hasn't even thought of yet.
Absolutely. And on a more sinister slant, and not really with Marie, but we have that scene with Cordosa and Dean Shetty.
Oh, yes.
Where after Dean Shetty has said that the kids have been handled, they've had their memories wiped. And
Cordosa's trying to say that he's going to leave the project, he's going to walk away, and she's saying to him, that's not going to look good in your LinkedIn profile, testing on and killing
exactly.
suits. Yeah.
And she's like, well, what do you want? And he says, I want Marie, because her abilities are the rarest I've ever seen. I think also the other two things that come out of this scene, one which is sinister, is I've almost perfected the virus, says Cordosa. We'll soon be able to control them forever. Which is like, oh, okay, so this is really, on a need to know basis, like in terms of it's involving soups. And the other aspect is that when Cordosa asks for Marie, Dean Shetty is quite clear, no, she has a benefactor.
Yeah.
So who is the benefactor? Be really intriguing to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that as well. I was wondering whether Shetty just meant herself because she has an interest in her, or now that Vought are taking an interest in her and Andre as being the top 2 seeded students, is that what she means, that they're off the table?
And that makes sense, actually. So maybe it is just Vought as the benefactor, but normally that would be an individual, you know?
Yeah, maybe she's just talking about Ashley. Maybe Ashley's got an interest in Marie. For the 7 in the future. even though her powers would disgust Middle America.
Yeah.
Anything else about the major moment about Kate's mind wiping and the story that leads us to there, John?
No, I think that final scene where Kate effectively comes clean after Emma has called, gives Andre his memories back. I thought that was kind of a really good scene. And, you know, as Andre says, you know, you're an effing monster. You know, is this going to split the group? What is going to happen to Kate? Well, this is... I thought it was a really good ending on a big cliffhanger.
How can they trust her? That she could just
exactly.
wipe their minds again, you know, get them all their memories back, and then next episode, if she doesn't like the way it's going, she could wipe them again, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I think that's all from our main moments of the episode. Any notes?
Got a few notes from this episode. One that we missed in the first episode, which I really should have caught, because this character has been out there for quite a long time. We mentioned him in this episode, though. Maverick, the see-through kid with glasses and a hat, that is actually Translucent's son. If you remember, back to The Boys season 1, the first soup that was ever killed was killed by Huey. He killed Translucent in the first season, and at his funeral there was mention of a son called Maverick. So this is Translucent's son. So will we see him stepping up and maybe taking revenge in season 4 of The Boys, maybe against Huey, the guy who killed his father? Will we see that? He seemed to be quite involved in his studies, or at least in his dom sub relationship with that llama. So maybe he's much more involved in that, and he's not a violence type of guy. But just interesting that we're seeing the child of one of previous 7 in school. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Good stuff.
I have another one, really quickly. This is quite a complicated one to explain, but Emma, when she's talking about the fact that she's been banned from becoming giant by her mother, she mentions it's because of the Buster Beaver incident. Go Google it to Marie. Okay?
Yeah.
Buster Beaver is effectively the Chuck E. Cheese of the Boys universe, and that is Buster Beaver's was the place that Black Noir was hiding out with those cartoon characters, based on the fact that he had an incident in the 60s where he paralyzed a kid in a Buster Beaver's restaurant, probably the one that he was hanging out in. So interestingly, Emma's also had an incident where she grew big in using her soup powers in a Buster Beaver as well. So don't go to that restaurant, kids. Obviously, lots of really bad things happen when you're around.
Must have been very tasty, the food.
Yeah, it must have
gorged herself.
exactly. She had 5 burgers and
she has to watch her calories, as her mum says.
Exactly. So
Excellent.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's good. Well, and the notes I have are like the couch scene with Andre and Emma that I was mentioning. So the TV show that they're watching is The Mesmerizer.
That's right.
And we meet Mesmer in The Boys. He was played by Haley Joel Osment.
That's right.
And ultimately he is killed by Billy Butcher. But yes, we have The Mesmerizer.
Yeah, and I love that the conversation that they're having is such a terrible show. It's not the same as watching it with Luke, because he could tear this thing apart every time we watch it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Without his running commentary. Yeah. Maybe Luke should have had a podcast about TV shows.
He should. Yeah, I think so. The only other note I have is I do love seeing Big Emma in the pool with the pool cover over her, and then the TikTok video where she is chugging from kegs as all the smiley faces are there to hide her modesty.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was really good. So, yeah just that, because we hadn't mentioned it really.
Yeah, and she does seem to get a lot of happiness out of the fact that her mother had told her never to do that in public, and now she's done it, and people love her. So,
exactly.
Telling her she's got big soup energy. I love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. Overall then, John, what did you think of the episode? What would you rate this episode of Gen V?
I really liked this episode. So it was just good fun. I think, it was quite simple. I'd give this 4.5 puppet geddons out of 5. When I say simple, as you say, that through line of they can't remember it, and their investigation and the trail of crumbs to get them to the truth. I thought Emma's character was just really good in this, just because she's kind of like that Zen center of this group. She's just sound, I think.
Yes, she is. She's still my favorite character.
Yeah.
5 episodes in, loving her.
And I like that, you know, her quirkiness is still there, but I feel the character is really developing nicely into, you know, this whole group. So I'm really enjoying that arc of Emma's character. And similarly, Kate in this episode, just that revelation, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that until, you know, it became apparent with Dean Shetty and her conversation with her. How that played out and, you know, what that will mean for this group is, I thought was really, really good.
Absolutely. Because, you know, when she came into the series at the beginning, it's kind of like she could be just the morning girlfriend, you know, the new girlfriend for Andre. She was kind of a background character almost of the group, wasn't focused on as much as the rest of them. But now you find that she's so centrally part of Shetty's plot that she's being used to wipe the minds of students, you know?
Exactly.
So,
and, you know, coupled with the awesome puppet battle, as well
gruesome
as
and awesome.
The gruesome and awesome puppet battle, the student party of, hero-gasm sort of ilk.
Student-gasm, I guess.
The student-gasm, it was just, I thought it was really, really good. It had all that combination that I think we just love about the boys, you know, irreverence, dirt, and,
more
you know,
filth.
some really good character development and the story developing at a really nice pace. So I really, really enjoyed, this episode, and yes, would give it 4.5 Puppet Geddons out of 5.
Fantastic. Yeah, I really love this episode. Looking forward to more, and a great cliffhanger there at the end of the episode. John, I think we need to go to the student bar. Shots.
I think we do. Let's hope we don't wake up and find ourselves not remembering the past 48 hours.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Yes, so it is time for the student bar quiz, fellow boys and girls and fellow quizzers. We're on episode 5, so here we go with question 5. What ranking at Godolkin does Emma reach after her TikTok growth spurt?
Very good. Big soup energy. How far did that get her up the charts?
Absolutely.
Is the question. Yeah. Good stuff. John, do you want to get the question one more time?
What ranking at Godolkin does Emma reach after her TikTok growth spurt?
Excellent. That's it. Question 5 of 8. Put them together with the answers to the other questions. Email us at the end of the season to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com to be able to have the chance to get your hands on some Gen V goodies.
Absolutely. Without further ado, let us get on to our feedback section from our lovely fellow boys and girls. First up, we have an email from Parthenia Locklear, who says, "Hello, boys and girls. I just finished listening to your review of episodes 1 to 3. As always, your coverage is amazing."
Oh, thanks, Parthenia.
That's great. Thanks, Parthenia. Even though I knew what to expect with this show, I was still left in shock. Killing your parents with shards of menstruation is new material for sure. How do these writers come up with this stuff, or is this origin story from the comics? Doesn't matter, I'm still entertained. I was really happy to see the actors who play Marie and Andre working together again. I enjoyed watching them both on Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix as Roz and Ambrose. Good call, Parthenia. Yes, I thought I recognised Jazz Sinclair and Chance Perdomo. Yeah. Because I loved the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
And I did kind of get into the second one, but I didn't really watch every episode like I did.
We watched 2 full seasons of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, John.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's
Ambrose was a real standout in the show. He was great fun.
Great fun. And actually, the original Sabrina and the Teenage Witch was when I was at university.
Oh, there you go. So
I met that
kind of
and Star Trek Next Generation. Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of Italian.
Good stuff. Parthenia continues. So far, between the boys and Gen V, my favourite super might be Jordan. If I had to choose a power, I don't think I would mind choosing between gender at will and being almost indestructible while doing it. This show makes me feel like in the writer's room, someone says, "But what else can we do with a penis?" I can't wait to see the rest of the series and follow along with you all. Alumna Parthenia Locklear, class of 2003, my actual undergrad year.
Fantastic.
Excellent stuff. Well, I have to say, my undergrad year, I have two, because I went to a strange university which had my matriculation, which was in 1996, and then my graduation, which was in 1999.
Wow. And which house did the sorting hat push you in?
It put me in the Worcester house.
Love it.
Worcester College, in
Worcester
fact.
College. Worcester College.
Yes,
love
it.
it. Yes.
But
Parthenia, I think, I don't think you're far off the mark with the writer's room there. I think that does happen sometimes. What else can we do with a penis in this season?
I dread to think what the seats in the writer's room are like. I think it could be fairly dodge.
Okay. All right. That's a weird follow-up there. Parthenia, thanks so much for sending in your email. Great to hear from you again as well. Hope you're staying with us for the rest of Gen V and some of the other shows. And hope we hear your thoughts towards the end of the season too.
Yeah. Good stuff, Parthenia. Thanks.
Next up, John Daniel emailed us to say, "Hi all, it's been a while. Sorry for the radio silence. I've been subscribed but not watching much of what you've been watching. I am so pleasantly surprised by how good Gen V is turning out to be. I will keep this short. I just want to say I thought Emma was going to be a background comic relief. I am so happy to be wrong. She is amazing. I finished episode 4 at this writing and I'm blown away. I won't say I called it, but when her mom asked about her calories because she seemed a bit small, I wondered if she was going to get taller. If she ate too much, I was giddy when she ran for the meatballs. Anyway, keep up the good work. I can't wait to see where this goes." John from Chicago. Welcome back, John.
Absolutely. Good to hear from you, John. Where will this go? Well, it could involve penises. I jest, of course.
Probably will, though.
But it probably will, exactly. I totally agree with you around Emma. Yeah, you were wondering where that character was going to go. Certainly, she's got the comic relief and continues to have it. But also, you're just seeing that development of this character into that sort of loyal, trustworthy friend of Marie and, integrating into this group that she wouldn't normally have been a part of because of, that special connection that she's formed, lost in this episode, but instinctively knows that she has it with Sam.
Exactly.
So I completely agree, John. I think Emma is a great character.
She really is. Yep, really is.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, John.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee and Vodka sent us an email about episode 4 as well. Greetings, fellow overeating defenders. Well, mentally asked and answered. She could grow by gorging, but what happened there at the end? Soup intervention or just an awkward edit? Is Sam mentally afflicted or is there a real puppet master? Tech Knight seems to be Gen V's answer to the boys the deep. And Indria's resourcefulness in dealing with him was wholly satisfying. Marie coming clean about the event felt good, and her getting together with Jordan was a nice touch. And, unintentional or not, I'm pretty sure she's guaranteed no more unwanted advances from anyone on campus. A solid continuation of a great show. 4 two-person threesomes, Shetty's solutions, and eardrum corsages out of 5. Peace and take care. Coffee and Vodka.
I really like the 2-person threesomes for Marie and Jordan's relationship.
Yes, that is very good.
Good stuff.
It gives a new phrase. It gives a new meaning to the phrase flip-flopping, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a real puppet master behind Sam? I think in this episode we've probably seen that it's in his mind, that he's seeing everything as puppets. For the most part.
Yes.
I don't think someone's broadcasting on the TV to control him through the puppets on the actual TV. That's what I tell. And as we say, this could be a coping mechanism from the amount of brutality he's had to endure in the testing that he's been going through in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. And indeed, it's not just an awkward edit. It is intentional.
Yes, we have an answer now, very quickly in episode 5. So now we know it wasn't just a bad edit. Good stuff. Thanks, Coffee and Vodka. Over in our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV podcast industries, Penny Linux sent in her thoughts. She said, "I can't imagine trying to stay PG covering this show. You are braver than I." We do like a challenge.
Yes, thank you so much, Penny. And of course, I guess it's just subterfuge, using different words for double, triple, quadruple entendres. So keep your Irish and British slang dictionary handy. Keep a normal dictionary handy. Keep an urban dictionary handy.
Possibly,
you name it, keep a dictionary handy, because this podcast is laced with dirt.
Do you know, I'd be pretty surprised if anybody under the age of 18 was actually listening to a podcast about Gen V at all. So it's generally fine. It's just to not affect the rest of the podcasts on our main feed on TV Podcast Industries. But I hope you don't mind. That's a bit of fun to cover the podcast anyway.
Indeed. Good stuff. Thanks, Penny.
Thanks so much, Penny. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. Dr. Bob Phillips had some thoughts about episode 4 as well. He says, oh my, this time more specifically sausage-based gore. Emma goes all Tay-Tay on the hill. Sam's having proper psychotic episodes, and we finally get a soup undertaking what seems to be quite effective detective work. For the whole truth, of course. Are we seeing mind wipes, time splits, or dream reality twists with the memories at the moment? Not noticed men in suits, but isn't that part of the point of them? So I guess speculation from Dr. Bob there is Will Smith around the corner wearing his Men in Black outfit, wiping people's minds. And there you go. You were right. It was Kate wiping people's minds in a similar way.
Yeah. Lady in Gloves.
Lady in Gloves. The new Men in Black.
The new Men in Black. Exactly.
I love it. Or the new song from Krista Berg. She's dancing with him.
If Chris was on the episode, he'd be trying to sing away to this in a lovely off-key note.
But we're not going to. He's not here. Yeah. He's not here.
It's very fashionable in the 1960s to be discordant with the music. So
yes, it was. It was.
He's just a man out of time, is our Chris.
Yes. Yes, and tune.
Yes. Excellent stuff, Dr. Bob. Love Emma going all Tay-Tay on the hill. Although I was wondering whether that was something deeper than Taylor Swift. I was almost reaching for my Urban Dictionary.
Yeah. Might do that anyway. Good stuff. Thanks, Dr. Bob.
Thanks, Dr. Bob. Finally, on our Facebook group, Jamie Lawton says, at last we meet Tech Knight. I loved him in the comics. I understand there's talk of him appearing in season 4 of The Boys. I think Shut Up TV's Jason Ritter is going to be my new go-to favourite quote. Also, I looked at Jason Ritter's past films and TV's appearance on IMDb and didn't really remember any of the stuff. But I know of Jason Ritter. He's one of those actors you just know. Hard to explain what I mean. Maybe because his dad, John Ritter, and its name recognition. Yeah, but I think you can get that, when all of a sudden, whether it's TV or even like music in a sense, and it's like, oh, I recognise them. Oh, they were in that. And then before you know it, they're popping up in shows all over the place. Yeah. And maybe if it's light entertainment shows, or dare I say it, things like Falcon Crest or
he's not that type of actor.
He's not, but you know what I mean.
Freddy versus Jason, John. That's all we've got. That's our touchstone for him.
But what was the famous producer who did like Falcon Crest and all those
was that Aaron Spelling?
Yes, Aaron Spelling. And before you knew it, you realised that all the great camp TV shows of America was done by Aaron Spelling.
By one guy. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It was brilliant.
Beverly Hills 90210.
That's great stuff. I also used to watch a lot of Aaron Spelling at university as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
There we go.
There you go. How did you ever get your doctorate done?
No, this was at my undergraduate.
Yeah, but you still have to get through all that to get to your doctorate. True. So, yeah. But I do know what you mean, Jamie. Like, I think when you see Jason Ritter once, you go, oh my God, I know him. I definitely know him. Oh, it's John Ritter, it's his dad. And then the next time you see him, you'll always remember his face. So he may be one of those background actors that you see in lots of things, or even main actors that you see in lots of things, but you're always connecting him back to the fact that you recognize him from the off. Like,
and I just kept thinking of chocolate, because of that Ritter's chocolate bar that we have over here.
I don't even know that chocolate bar. We have Snickers.
Well, it's kind of, it might be Swiss or like German.
Okay, that we have over here in Ireland.
Yeah.
Have I not seen it? I've eaten every single type of chocolate bar, I think.
Yeah.
I think if I had a superpower, it would be eating chocolate bars.
Yeah. I mean, because then all of a sudden it's like, will they bring out a chocolate starfish?
Oh, dear. All right. I think that's enough. Thanks so much to all our fellow boys and girls for your feedback. Great to hear it. Keep staying with us for our Gen V coverage. 3 more episodes to go of Gen V. And you know what happens directly after Gen V? In fact, I think it might even be on the last episode of Gen V.
Go on.
Invincible returns to Prime Video on the same day that Gen V finishes, as far as I know. It's on the same, certainly on the same day.
Wow.
And that's the other show that we cover on this feed because of its violence, because of its adult content, even though it's an animated show. So we have a lot of upcoming violence.
Yeah, I'm going to have a shot of adrenaline, I think.
Might have to
be honest.
Just adrenaline, Joe John.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us. We will be back with you next week. Please make sure you stay subscribed to the podcast over on tvpodcastindustries.com to get access to all the other shows that we're covering at the moment. Still covering Loki every week. We're on to episode 2, which will be coming out a bit later. We are away for the weekend, so we won't be recording that until Tuesday of next week. But that gives you time, if you're watching Loki, to get your thoughts into us at feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com.
Excellent stuff. And remember, fellow boys and girls, please support the podcast. You can support it any which way you like. You can support us over on patreon.com/TV Podcast Industries or over on buymeacoffee.com/TVPI. But also, and more importantly, support us by subscribing to the podcast and sharing it with your friends, family members, and student friends, of course.
And maybe if you have any llamas, you can share it with them too.
Maybe too, indeed. Because remember, sharing the podcast is, of course, sharing the love.
Yes, it is. We'll speak to you again next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Fellow boys and girls, we'll be back next time with our chat about episode 6 of Gen V, Jumanji. And the next question in our Gen V student bar quiz will also be following swiftly along from our coverage of episode 6. But in the meantime, keep watching, keep listening, and keep your vibrating hands to yourself.
Bye.
Bye.